Someone is about to come forward with a confession that will confirm what your intuition has been telling you for a long time. Take a slow, steady breath before hearing this, because what you are about to experience is not random, not a coincidence, and not something you imagined. You did not create this scenario in your mind. You did not overthink the situation, and you did not misread the signs that were right in front of you. Your intuition has been quietly guiding you for a long time, even during moments when you tried to silence it or push it aside. Very soon, someone will speak words that align exactly with what you have already felt deep within yourself. You sensed it long before you could explain it clearly, before logic could make sense of it, before there was proof, and before any direct conversation took place. There was a calm inner awareness. It felt like a subtle pull you could not explain, a unique blend of heaviness and warmth in your chest. There were times when their name entered your thoughts without any obvious reason, and moments when the silence between you felt stronger and more meaningful than spoken words. You tried to dismiss that feeling. You kept yourself busy. You told yourself that perhaps you were imagining things or reading too much into small interactions. But intuition does not demand attention or force itself forward. It waits quietly and patiently until the truth has room to surface. And your intuition has shown great patience with you. The reason is straightforward. This person has been holding back something significant. The confession that is approaching did not appear suddenly. It has been developing slowly over time, quietly and sometimes painfully, within their thoughts and emotions. Their silence was not caused by a lack of care. In reality, they remained silent because they cared more than they knew how to manage. They feared saying the wrong thing. They feared rejection. They feared changing the dynamic between you permanently. And they feared acknowledging emotions that felt too intense to control. They observed you more closely than you realized. They noticed subtle shifts in your mood, your energy, and your behavior. They remembered small details about you that you assumed went unnoticed or unappreciated. And many times, just as they were close to speaking, fear intervened and held them back. But fear cannot maintain control forever. Your intuition picked up on their internal conflict even when nothing was openly said. You could sense that something between you remained incomplete, like a thought that never fully ended. That is why the energy between you felt unsettled and why the connection never truly disappeared. Regardless of time or distance, your intuition detected their hesitation, the emotional distance that would unexpectedly turn into closeness, and the subtle ways they tried to remain part of your life. You noticed the tension when you were together, the unspoken feelings in ordinary moments, and how silence itself carried meaning. This was never the confusion you worried it might be. It was unspoken truth. And truth that is held back always finds a way to surface eventually. The reason this confession is happening now is because timing plays a bigger role than most people understand. Something has shifted within you, within them, or possibly within both of you at the same time. Perhaps you began to withdraw your energy and focus more on yourself. Perhaps you stopped chasing explanations and forcing clarity. Maybe you chose peace over waiting and decided to let go of control. Interestingly, that choice is exactly what created space for the truth to move toward you. When you stopped needing answers so urgently, the answers started coming on their own. This confession is no longer about power or control. It is about honesty becoming stronger than fear. When it happens, do not expect a dramatic or emotional scene like in a movie. It is more likely to appear in a quiet, ordinary moment that seems simple on the surface, yet carries emotional weight that cannot be ignored. It may come through plain words such as, "I've been wanting to tell you something," Or, I don't know why I'm saying this now, but I've felt this for a long time. Or even, you were right all along. When those words are spoken, something inside you will become calm and steady because you will recognize the truth immediately, without needing further explanation. You will not feel shocked or caught off guard. Instead, you will feel affirmed. You will not think that you never expected this. You will quietly realize, I already knew. That calm response, that quiet clarity in your chest, is your intuition being confirmed. Life is not trying to surprise you with something new. It is simply validating what your inner voice has known for a long time. What this person is truly admitting goes beyond romantic emotion. They are acknowledging that they tried to resist their feelings, that they struggled to let you go even when they acted as if they could. And that distance did not erase what they felt. They are admitting that pretending not to care was draining, that silence was heavy for them as well, and that keeping everything inside became too difficult. This confession is not only a release for them, but also for you. It clears the emotional tension that lingered for so long. This moment matters because it is not only about connection or affection. It is about rebuilding trust in yourself. Once this happens, you will clearly understand that your intuition is reliable, your emotional awareness is valid, and your inner voice deserves trust. You were never overly sensitive, never dramatic, never naive, and never mistaken. You were simply aware of something real before it had words. Everything you have gone through recently prepared you for this moment. Emotional growth, learning to detach, building inner stability, and becoming comfortable with uncertainty. None of those experiences were wasted. You needed to become grounded enough to hear the truth without losing yourself in it, and now you are there. After the confession, it is important to remember that honesty does not automatically create a perfect outcome. What it truly offers is clarity instead of confusion, truth instead of assumptions, and control returning to you. You get to decide what happens next, not from desire or fear, but from awareness and self-respect. That is genuine growth, and that is real strength. If you are hearing this and noticing an emotional response, that itself is a form of confirmation. If instead you feel calm rather than uneasy, it suggests you are aligned with yourself. If this message feels familiar and resonates closely with you, that is your intuition recognizing the right moment. You did not imagine this connection. You did not misread the energy. You did not wait without purpose. Someone is genuinely approaching with a confession that reflects what you already sensed deep within. As this moment draws near, avoid rushing. Do not attempt to push a conversation, and do not begin questioning yourself now. Let the truth arrive in its own natural way and timing. When it does, you will understand something significant. Your intuition sensed not only the presence of love, but also the correct time for that love to be expressed. And that time has finally arrived. As you move ahead from here, there is a deeper layer to what this moment introduces into your life. It is not loud or overwhelming, but calm and stabilizing, gradually settling within you. Once the confession is spoken and the truth is openly acknowledged, you may notice a change in your body before your thoughts catch up. Your shoulders ease. Your breathing feels more complete. The ongoing mental noise tied to unanswered questions begins to fade. This happens because clarity has a soothing effect on the inner self. For a long time, your energy was invested in sensing, wondering, and waiting. Even when you told yourself you were fine, that energy was still occupied. Now, it returns to you. You may revisit past moments in your mind and suddenly view them with fresh understanding. Small interactions that once felt confusing begin to make sense. Words that seemed unfinished now connect. Silences that once felt heavy now feel explained. This does not pull you back into the past. Instead, it releases you from it. You are no longer carrying unspoken tension or emotional uncertainty. What follows is a period of choice. And choice feels very different when it comes from awareness rather than emotional need. You are no longer pursuing a feeling or seeking reassurance. You are grounded in clarity, seeing the situation as it truly is. This allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You may feel compassion for the other person, understanding how fear kept them silent and how difficult it was for them to speak honestly. At the same time, you also feel compassion for yourself, recognizing your patience, your trust in your inner guidance even when it felt uncomfortable, and the strength you developed along the way. This balance matters. It prevents you from losing yourself in someone else's emotions or neglecting your own needs. Whatever direction this connection takes from here, it will be built on honesty rather than assumption. That alone represents a meaningful shift. You may also notice that the urge to analyze every message, pause, or subtle change in behavior begins to fade. Your nervous system starts to feel more secure because truth creates stability. Even if questions remain, they no longer feel threatening. You now know that you can handle uncertainty, that you can trust your timing, and that you do not need to force outcomes in order to feel secure. This moment also deepens your relationship with yourself. You begin to place greater trust in your intuition, not as something mystical or dramatic, but as a calm inner guide that has shown its reliability over time. This sense of trust extends into other areas of your life as well. You pay closer attention to your internal signals. You pause less when something does not feel right. You move ahead with stronger self-trust. That is one of the most valuable outcomes of this experience. It shows you that patience is not a weakness, that silence does not always indicate absence, and that truth moves at its own pace. As you continue forward, remember that you are not required to rush toward conclusions or labels. You are allowed to take the time you need to understand what you feel and to choose what supports your sense of peace. This phase is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about respecting what you already know and allowing your life to progress with greater honesty and self-respect. Whatever happens next, you are no longer waiting without clarity. You are standing in awareness, and that shifts everything. As this awareness settles more deeply within you, another subtle change begins to occur. It may not be obvious all at once, but it becomes noticeable over time through small yet meaningful shifts. You start to recognize that you are no longer acting from fear of loss or fear of being misunderstood. Instead, you are moving from a place of self-connection where your emotions feel more stable and your thinking feels clearer. You come to see that this experience was never meant to push you toward a quick result, but to slow you down enough to truly understand yourself. The waiting, the observing, and the moments of doubt and hope were shaping you into someone who can now hold truth without being overwhelmed by it. You may notice that conversations feel easier, that your responses are more measured, and that uncertainty affects you less than before. This happens because your inner world has reached a sense of balance. You no longer depend on constant reassurance because you have learned how to reassure yourself. You no longer feel compelled to chase clarity because clarity already exists within you. Even if this connection continues to develop gradually, it will do so without the emotional pressure that once defined it. And if it takes a different direction, you will face that outcome with acceptance rather than resistance. There is strength in knowing that you will be fine regardless of the result. That strength changes how you engage in every interaction. You may also notice yourself becoming more present, appreciating simple moments without your thoughts returning to unresolved questions. Your focus shifts back to your own life, your goals, your creativity, and your sense of direction. This is not because the connection has lost its importance, but because it no longer defines who you are. You are anchored in yourself first, and that foundation creates a healthier space for any relationship to exist. With time, you begin to recognize that this experience sharpened your emotional awareness. It showed you how to listen beyond spoken words, how to trust subtle inner signals, and how to remain open without losing yourself. These lessons remain long after the moment has passed. They shape how you love, how you communicate, and how you safeguard your inner calm. You become more intentional with your energy, not driven by fear, but guided by self-respect. Within this space, whatever is meant to develop will do so naturally, without pressure or confusion. You are no longer searching for signs or external validation. You are living in alignment with what you already understand. This is where true emotional maturity exists, not in dramatic conclusions or ideal beginnings, but in steady confidence and inner balance. As you continue moving forward, you carry a deeper trust in life itself, knowing that what is real will always come to light, and what is meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself to receive it. As you keep walking with this renewed clarity, you may notice that your relationship with time begins to shift. You no longer feel rushed by unspoken deadlines or weighed down by expectations that were never clearly defined. Instead, you feel present, grounded in the moment you are in. A quiet confidence follows you. Not one that seeks attention or proof, but one that shows in your posture, your voice, and the way you move through life. You trust that what needs to be expressed will be expressed, and what needs to unfold will do so without force. This trust allows you to find emotional rest, something you may not have realized you had been missing for a long time. You begin to realize that the connection you once felt was never meant to overwhelm you, but to wake you up. It helped you recognize how deeply you are capable of feeling, how observant you can be, and how strong your inner awareness truly is. With this realization, you stop questioning your emotional capacity and start respecting it. You understand that sensitivity is not a flaw and intuition is not fantasy. They are valid forms of intelligence that guided you through uncertainty and led you toward clarity. You may also notice that mixed signals or emotional inconsistency affect you far less than before. Where confusion once drew you inward, clarity now serves as a filter. You see people more accurately for who they are and for the level of emotional connection they are able to offer. This shift does not make you distant or indifferent. It makes you truthful with yourself. You allow others to reveal who they are without trying to fix them or complete what they cannot provide. This sense of self-respect becomes the new base from which you operate. From this position, your decisions feel clearer and more aligned. You no longer remain in situations while hoping they will transform into something different. Instead, you choose what feels steady, balanced, and emotionally genuine. And when something no longer aligns with where you are, you release it without bitterness. This level of emotional maturity brings a calm that stays with you even during uncertain moments. You trust your ability to handle whatever lies ahead. You understand that there is no need to pursue approval or repeatedly justify your value. Your presence alone communicates enough truth. As life continues to move around you, you stay grounded, receptive, and aware. This is the quiet strength this journey has given you, the ability to move forward without fear, to listen without hesitation, and to live without letting go of the inner wisdom that has always been part of you. As you continue through this stage of your life, the awareness you have gained does not disappear, it continues to grow deeper. Each day, Even during moments that appear routine, you become aware of how differently you respond to people, situations, and emotions. You are not drawn into emotional turbulence as quickly as before. When difficulties arise, you face them with calmness instead of anxiety. This happens because something within you has found stability. The constant self-doubt, quiet questioning, and emotional uncertainty no longer dominate your inner space. You now trust yourself enough to pause before reacting, to listen before responding, and to experience feelings without being overwhelmed by them. This change is gentle yet significant. You begin to notice that your personal boundaries become clearer without needing justification. You naturally step away from what exhausts you and move toward what supports you. You no longer feel remorse for choosing peace over emotional disorder or for choosing yourself over situations that force you to diminish who you are. This way of being does not come from emotional withdrawal, but from recognizing the worth of your heart. You still care deeply and feel strongly, but you are no longer willing to lose yourself in doubt or emotional instability. As time goes on, you also recognize that the connection you once sensed taught you an important lesson about patience. Not patience that waits endlessly without direction, but patience that observes, understands, and grows while allowing life to reveal clarity in its own time. You now see that waiting was never about another person. It was about becoming emotionally prepared to accept truth without fear. You were learning how to remain grounded within yourself even when answers did not arrive immediately. This lesson stays with you and influences how you approach all areas of life, from relationships to personal ambitions. You stop pushing outcomes and begin to trust timing. You understand that what arrives too soon may not be sustained, and what arrives too late may no longer serve a purpose. Timing, you learn, is neither punishment nor reward. It is alignment, and you begin to respect it instead of resisting it. This respect brings a sense of ease into your life. You feel less pressure to manage every detail and more openness to move with what unfolds. Naturally, you may also notice a stronger sense of emotional honesty within yourself. You allow joy without questioning it and sadness without criticism. You no longer hide emotions to appear resilient, nor amplify them to gain attention. You simply let them exist and move through you. This balance makes you more present in your own life. You enjoy conversations more deeply, listen with greater focus, and speak with greater sincerity. You are no longer searching for hidden meanings or reading between the lines. You accept people's words and actions as they are, trusting that authenticity shows itself through consistency over time. This simplicity creates peace. Gradually, you may observe that others respond differently to you as well. Some feel more at ease around you. Some become more open. Others may feel unsettled by your grounded presence because it reflects truths they are not yet ready to confront within themselves. You do not take this personally. You understand that everyone is on their own path, moving at their own pace. You no longer feel obligated to fix, rescue, or emotionally carry others. You offer understanding where it is welcomed and space where it is necessary. This emotional independence does not distance you from others. It strengthens your connections. The relationships that remain feel more balanced, more transparent, and more respectful. You stop pursuing emotional depth where it cannot exist and begin investing in environments where it can naturally develop. You also start to see the value of silence differently. Silence no longer feels like rejection or emptiness. It feels like room to breathe, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. You are no longer uneasy with quiet moments because you trust what exists within them. You trust yourself enough to sit with your thoughts without constant distraction. This inner ease becomes one of your strongest qualities. It allows you to enjoy your own presence and to enter relationships from a place of wholeness rather than dependence. As you move forward, you realize that this experience reshaped your understanding of love and connection. Love, you now see, is not about constant intensity or emotional extremes. It is about safety, clarity, and shared presence. It is about showing up as yourself without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. This awareness helps you recognize healthier connections when they appear. You become more patient with beginnings and more accepting of endings. You no longer cling to uncertainty or resist completion. You respect each chapter for what it taught you, not for how long it lasted. This perspective grants you emotional freedom. You feel lighter, not because you care less, but because you are no longer carrying emotional weight that was never yours to bear. As days become weeks and weeks turn into months, you may look back and recognize how far you have progressed without consciously tracking each step. The version of you that once questioned everything now trusts more deeply. The version that once waited with anxiety now moves with calm intention. The version that once doubted their inner voice now listens to it with respect. This growth is quiet, but it is genuine. It appears in the way you choose peace over conflict, clarity over confusion, and honesty over avoidance. You do not seek validation for this growth. You sense it in your body, in your thoughts, and in your choices. As you continue to live from this place, you remain open to connection without becoming dependent on it. You welcome honesty, but you do not pursue it relentlessly. You allow emotions, but you do not let them overpower your sense of self. You now understand that true connection does not require abandoning your intuition or silencing your needs. It meets you where you are, respects your boundaries, and develops over time. This awareness stays with you, gently guiding you through whatever comes next. You move forward not with certainty about outcomes, but with trust in yourself. That trust becomes the foundation of everything you build from this point on. As you continue along this path, something even deeper begins to settle within you. Something that cannot be rushed or forced, only lived and experienced. You start to notice that your sense of self no longer shifts based on how others respond to you. Where you once searched for reassurance in words, tone, or behavior, you now find that reassurance within your own awareness. You remain steady even when situations are unclear, because you understand that clarity no longer defines your worth or direction. This does not mean you stop caring or feeling. It means you stop attaching your peace to outcomes beyond your control. You move with a quiet confidence that whatever unfolds will not break you, because you have already learned how to support yourself through uncertainty. This creates an inner sense of safety that stays with you everywhere. You trust yourself to step away when something no longer aligns. You also trust yourself to remain present when something feels honest and mutual. This balance allows you to engage with life without the fear of losing yourself. You may notice that your emotional responses feel gentler now, not because you are detached, but because you are no longer operating from old wounds or unresolved tension. When something hurts, you acknowledge it without allowing it to define you. When something excites you, you allow joy without holding on to it. This emotional flexibility becomes one of your greatest strengths. It allows you to move through experiences without becoming stuck in them. You understand that emotions are signals, not commands, and you listen to them with respect rather than resistance. This awareness also changes the way you communicate. You speak more honestly but with greater calm. You express your needs without apology and your feelings without expectation. You no longer over-explain yourself in an effort to be understood. You trust that the right people will hear you without requiring persuasion. This confidence is not loud or demanding. It is steady and clear. It earns respect naturally, without effort. As time goes on, you may realize that this journey has reshaped your relationship with vulnerability. You are no longer afraid to be open, but you are also no longer careless with your heart. You share yourself intentionally with those who demonstrate consistency and emotional presence. You understand that vulnerability is not about giving everything away, but about choosing carefully where you invest your energy. This discernment protects your peace while still allowing intimacy to grow where it truly belongs. You become more comfortable letting things unfold at their own pace without rushing to label or define them. You trust the process enough to let reality reveal itself through actions rather than promises. This patience no longer feels heavy. It feels natural. You are no longer waiting for something to happen in order to feel complete. You already feel whole within yourself. From this sense of wholeness, any connection that enters your life becomes an addition rather than a necessity. You move forward with openness and clarity, knowing you no longer need to chase what is meant to meet you halfway. This understanding remains with you, guiding your choices gently and consistently. You live with greater presence, more honesty, and deeper respect for your inner wisdom. In this space, life feels quieter, steadier, and more aligned. Not because everything is perfect, but because you trust yourself enough to handle whatever comes next without losing the grounded sense of peace you have patiently built.